Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is the Modern Literary Witch, and today we are going to do another true crime tarot reading. Today's reading is going to be on Madeleine McCann. I'm going to start by lighting some candles and inviting the spirit of Madeleine to join us and tell us her story. So we're going to start this reading off with smudging and cleansing our area with this lavender sage smudge spray. Take a couple of deep breaths and relax. So to start off, I want to give you a brief introduction into the story of Madeleine McCann if you aren't already familiar with it. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but the basic story is her and her family were on vacation in Portugal with a series of other families. Her parents had left her and her siblings in the condo room that they were staying in at this resort in Portugal while they were down drinking and eating at the tapas restaurant. The parents were regularly checking in with the kids to make sure that they were sleeping and everything was all right. And at one point, Madeleine's mom went back to their room to check on the kids and discovered that Madeleine was missing. And from there, a kidnapping investigation was started into the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. Now, even though the family was vacationing in Portugal, they were originally from the UK, from England. That's where her parents reside now with her other siblings. So there has been some recent, I don't know if to call them breaks in the case, but maybe more updates in the case. There is belief that there was a pedophile who kidnapped and murdered Madeleine, and he is currently residing in a German prison. And it is also recently reported that the police investigated a specific location on the coast and were able to retrieve some physical evidence. So that is currently what we know. There are a lot of people who think that the parents are at fault or responsible, and there are a number of people who think that Madeleine had an accident and her parents covered it up. So today I'm just here to hopefully get Madeleine's side of the story. Hopefully she can kind of shed some light onto what actually happened and see if there are any connections to this German man. So we're going to start off with our Tarot of the Haunted House, and then we'll pull some cards from the Dark Mirror Oracle deck. And I just realized that was upside down. So the Dark Mirror Oracle deck and our Tarot of the Haunted House. So we're going to set that off to the side and open these up. We are going to set our guidebook to the side. I might refer to it, I try not to, but sometimes the descriptions in the book are very interesting and can shed a lot of light on the imagery in the cards. So I'm going to start by just giving this a shuffle, and then we are going to ask for an identifier card. call in the spirit of Madeleine McCann to join us and answer these questions. We are not here to pass judgment. We are just here to understand and learn. When you are ready, please give me an identifier card for Madeleine. Woo! So the card we got is the Eight of Wands, which I think is very interesting because this seems to imply that whatever happened very quickly. Can I have an identifier card for Madeleine? How would you describe yourself? Let's pull this one. And we got the Six of Wands. So with these two together, I see her as kind of a stubborn and slightly defiant girl. Someone who's also kind of independent and isn't afraid to take risks. I'm already kind of having some preconceived biased notions based on these two cards, which are, in full disclosure and honesty, make me feel like an accident happened and the family covered it up. So the next series of cards that I want to draw, I want the focus to be what happened leading up to whatever this incident is. Anything else you want to add to your story? What happened leading up to this? Let's just do one more. Okay. So the first series of cards we have are the Six of Cups, the Lovers, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Tower. And the final card we drew is the Empress. I'm going to confirm that just so I'm not reading this wrong. Number 3 is the Empress. Okay. Okay. So Six of Cups typically means sharing or generosity. What I don't like about this card is it is an older woman handing a cup full of white flowers to this younger girl. And the reason why I don't like this card in this context, as we already kind of alluded to, is this kind of gives the impression that in the accident theory, part of the theory is that the parents were drugging their kids to make them sleep, giving them something like Benadryl or maybe even a higher end drug. It is important to note that the parents were doctors. And this gives me the impression that she was given something. The Lovers could be her parents. It could be a relationship with her parents. I don't like this woman creeping in the background here in this card. Because it makes me feel like someone saw something. And maybe the pedophile was creeping around. This could be that. But I feel like there's a lot of feminine energy coming from this pull that wouldn't explain for the pedophile guy. The next card is the Wheel of Fortune. And unfortunately, this card is kind of like, not only like a fate, things happen the way that they're supposed to sort of card, but also like a perfect storm happened, of like all of these factors converged together to create this situation, and it led to what it led to. That being said, we have the tower. And this does not make me feel any better, because we have this person here, if you can see them, falling from the tower. And in the accident theory, what is believed happened is Madeleine was drugged along with her siblings. They were put to sleep, and at some point she woke up and crawled up onto the couch and was trying to look out through the window and fell behind the couch and seriously hurt herself. Whether it was some sort of neck spinal cord trauma or some sort of blunt force trauma, she did some serious damage to herself, and that led to her death. So this is the group that fell out, and this alone, not very reassuring. Adding the Empress on top of it makes it worse, because Madeleine's mother is the one that discovered whatever the situation was, and there has been a lot of speculation about how responsible the mother is for the story that came out after what happened. There was a lot of people thinking that she's the one who masterminded the kidnapping story, that she's the one, that found the situation, and is the one that masterminded the cover-up. So I pulled 2 more cards with the thought and intention in mind of like, hey, is my personal bias getting in the way here? Because I have always leaned towards the parents were responsible in some sort of way. I do think that an accident happened and then they just covered it up to protect themselves and protect the rest of their children from being taken away from them. And 3 of Wands and 10 of Wands, not super reassuring, but I want to read to you what the 3 of Wands is described as in this deck. 3 of Wands, what was that noise? It is time to set plans into action. You can sit on the sidelines no longer. The creativity of fire rests in your hands. Move forth. Creativity, venture, putting plans to work. Remember what I was just saying a couple seconds ago about mom? Yeah. And just for the sake of consistency, 10 of Wands is described as the burning. The heat and passion of fire is too great to bear. The flames consume, reaching in fever pitch and burning out as you may begin again. Culmination, burnout, alleviate, fatigue, exhaustion. What I see in this card is I see the mom shouldering the burden of guilt for the decisions that were made and for this plan that was enacted. Like I said when I first pulled, there's a lot of feminine energy coming from this reading, and that doesn't make me feel like the parents are less responsible. For the sake of asking the question, let's just ask, was the pedophile involved in this murder? Or in this death? Let's just change it to death. Was the pedophile involved in this death? No. This was family. So 10 of Cups is a family card. I also find it very interesting that it is a man and woman here, and then 2 kids left. And I think she had a brother and a sister that were left. This was... I don't think the pedophile had anything to do with it. I think that's a convenient scapegoat that they're trying to put pressure on and nobody wants to believe that the parents would do something like this. I think the parents were being selfish and wanting to hang out with their friends and do whatever it was they were doing and have their privacy. And because of that, it resulted in this series of bad decisions that led to this unimaginable fate for their daughter. And I would need to see some very, very compelling evidence to believe otherwise. Okay. Before I add those cards back into the deck, I do want to ask, did the parents dispose of her where the evidence was found? Did your parents dispose of you where this physical evidence has been found? The Devil. Typically, I would read this as a no, but I'm getting a yes out of it because part of the devil definition and symbolism is freedom. And I kind of see this as the truth kind of being set free. Yeah. Yeah, I think the lies are going to start unraveling here. Eight of Pentacles is kind of like a culmination of work efforts. And then Four of Wands is home, community, cult in this particular card, but it's a centralized, like, things are going to come out sooner than later. And I do want to look up the devil here in the book and see what it says, because I think that'll be a very interesting read. Devil, Raven's shadow self. It enslaves the lovers with her jealousy. Perhaps she enslaves herself. Are you the devil or the victim? Who holds power over you? Shadow, darkness, power, control, temptation, obsession, hedonism, and deception. So, yeah, this feels like the parents living with this guilt. And really not wanting to live with it anymore, I think. And that they've spent all these years working this lie and convincing everybody around them that there's no way that they could have done anything. And not that I physically believe they, like, maliciously hurt her. I don't believe that. But because of their own ego, because of their own issues and pride, you know, they sacrificed telling the truth for telling lies, and I think it's getting ready to come back and bite them. I'm very fascinated to see if the physical evidence that they claim they located is actually evidence and what they find on said evidence. If it was by, in, or near the water, that does make me concerned, but at the end of the day, it will be interesting to see what comes out. Next, we're going to take a look at the Dark Mirror Oracle. And we're just going to ask, what else is there to know? What else would you like to share? Would you like to confirm anything that we've talked about tonight? Oh, this is hitting hard. So we have the child I was meant to be. Without reading this card, which I am going to pull the book and read it because I'm always fascinated what the book says. This just confirms that, like, her life was ripped from her early, like too early, like just it didn't need to happen this way. She didn't get to grow up with her siblings. And again, even if it wasn't a malicious thing, like this is at the end of the day like the fault of her parents. Let's pull up the book. We're at number 8. Let's see what it says. The child I was meant to be. Full moon phase. Stage acceptance. An insight of clarity is the light I needed. Visual seed. Tones of lemon yellow and plum magenta, with castings of sky blue and bright morning white. The serene face of a woman with gentle gesture holds a small growing plant made of dreams and new leaves. Sentence. To go forward is to go backward, as hope heals the wounds of the past. Going dark. There is little darkness in this card. It is a card of connection with ourselves. So many times it feels like a dream. It's fleeting, uncertain, and yet clear. The moment you close your hand to grasp it, it turns into fairy light and disappears, but remains a lingering smell, an ethereal feeling of light in peaches and blossoms. It is faith. It is hope. It is a warm smile on the forest of smoke and mirrors. We can be whole again. We can be pure again. We can be happy again. No matter what we did, we can. Just know this is a gift of light among the cool darkness. It brings no road, sometimes no solace, but it can become a seed of hope, a wind of change, a place of safety in the storm. Even if it's gone, it was definitely here. Oh God, okay. I kind of expected this reading to be longer, but I think one, Madeleine herself is at peace, I think is what she's trying to communicate here. I may even go so far as to say she doesn't feel any resentment towards her parents about what happened. That spirit her has forgiven them for what happened. Whether us left here in the physical world can do the same, I don't think that can be said. Mostly because of the lies, but I do feel like this was a tragedy and just a lot of bad decisions came from this tragedy. Instead of fessing up and accepting their portion of responsibility in this situation, they decided to hide it and lie about it and cause all of this drama surrounding the situation, and that in and of itself is super unfortunate and tragic, but none of the things that are happening or are going to happen are going to change the fact that Madeleine is no longer here and that she was tragically taken from this earth way too soon. Just based on the cards that I read before, like I said, this sounds very much like the accident theory of they were given some sort of medication to make them drowsy and sleepy, and in doing that, it started the snowball effect. And when Madeleine had woken up and started looking for her parents who weren't there, she crawled up onto the couch or something and ended up falling off the back of it and severely hurting herself, resulting in her death. There's no malicious pedophile, there's no malicious sex ring, there's no malicious abuse, just short of any sort of medication that they were given. And like I said, it was a very tragic and unfortunate accident, and she never got to fully be the child that she was meant to be, but there's always a chance in the next life, in the next go around. It is just super unfortunate that she won't be able to do that until the people here have released her. So with that being said, I'm going to release you from this reading. Thank you for joining us today and answering these questions. May peace be with you. If you enjoyed this reading and would like to see more like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't have a specific plan of anybody that I want to read next, so if there's any particular case or person that you're interested in hearing more about or more from, alive or dead, leave it in the comments below, and we will go from there. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.